Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Lobo. This channel is called ZooPF Visual Effects. As usual, this is a visual effects channel that is morphing into many different things in 2020. That being said, if you're new to the channel, you checked out the videos, you did, guys, like the videos and sub to the channel, let your friends know you discovered a cool visual effects channel. I want to grow the channel, but I want to do it properly, so that's why it's growing slowly. But that being said, if you are returning, thank you so much for still being here with me. I really appreciate it. This is part 4 of our 4-part series, how to 3D model in Blender. I apologize, this one took a little bit longer to do. I was doing so many videos within the last week or so that I decided to take a break, a 3-day break, so that I could recharge myself and not get too exhausted. Okay, but I'm back, and so what we're going to be finishing is pretty much creating this texture right here. So we're going to be, oh my goodness, sorry, we're going to be creating this texture right here for this ship. And as you guys can see, all it is, once it's all done and said, is just one texture, and that just has a normal, okay, because everything is already baked in it. And then you can also play with these, the metallic, the specular, and the roughness, but it's already in the texture itself, so you don't really have to do that. Remember guys, duplicate your ships so that if you mess up, guess what, you have one that is already right there. Okay, and I'm also quickly going to just go in and make sure that they are separated. And you know what, while we are talking about that, why don't you do the exact same thing? Okay, duplicate your ship and just go ahead and do exactly what I've already showed you in past tutorials and showing you right now. And we're doing this so that whatever we're doing to this ship does not affect the original version. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to my modifier tab and I'm going to click apply. Once I do this, I'm going to go into my edit mode, and as you guys can see now, it's applied on the other side as well. And so I'm going to click A on my keyboard, and make sure you guys go into your UV editing tab. Okay, and what you're going to be doing right now is you're going to want to go into your UV editor, because this is where things are, right? And yours should look very similar to this. Okay, what you want to do now is click U and then click unwrap, and watch what happens over here. Okay, now we are definitely unwrapping the whole entire ship. Now if you did everything as per tutorial number 3, everything should look pretty good. The only places that might have that light blue is because the face is being stretched a little bit. And so go over it and decide if you want to unwrap it better or not. But I didn't, because I already knew that even if this is blue, it still works. If it's a light blue like this, it's still okay. It's only when it's green that you do not want that color. Okay, all right, so this looks good and I like. Okay, you also have the windows here and everything, so everything's good. Once you are here, that's the first step of this tutorial. Okay, very first step. All right guys, in part 2, what we're going to be creating is this edge detect on our ship right here. Okay, so the edge is just a I guess imperfection on the edges, and it just again just adds, I guess, more immersion of your ship texture and makes it look cooler. Do you really need this? Not really, but just having it, you know, is a cool thing to have. And so let's get to it right away. But first, before we start, let's make sure that you are on cycle. All right, so be on cycle, not on EV, be on cycle for this part so that we can see everything properly as we should. Either you do GPU compute or you do CPU compute. Now my GPU is very powerful. It's a 1080 Ti and I got 11 gigs of dedicated memory. Of course, it's not the 20 series, but still the 1080 Ti is a beautiful mistake that Nvidia made that the 20 series are still struggling to beat. But that being said, if I was creating a big scene, I would probably use CPU, because then CPU will use the power of my CPU, but also all of my RAMs on my computer. But since the scene is really tiny, 11 gigs of dedicated memory does the job. All right, I just need to explain that to you guys really quick so you wouldn't be struggling back and forth. So what we also need to do now is click on our ship. Once you click on your ship, guys, let us make sure that you have clicked on the add modifier, and your ship should look like this. Okay, and when you click you should have your whole entire ship unwrapped like this. And now you're probably wondering, hey, what happened to the blue color? Well, on the view tab here under display and under overlays, I unclick the stretching because as we are about to put textures on our ship, we want to make sure we see exactly how our texture looks like. So make sure you undo that really quick. Once we're here, the next step is super simple. I'm gonna go back to object mode and I'm going to go here, click on this icon, go down to shader editor. Once you're here, you should see something like this, except for this, you don't have this. So let's bring this into our scene right away. Click add, search, and just type in image. Whoops. There you go. Once you have that, click on that. If you don't click the left or right mouse button, you should be able to move it around, but as soon as you click the left, it stays. You click the right, it disappears. Since I already have it here, I'm just gonna click the right mouse button and I don't need it. Once you have it, just make sure you put it right here. Don't touch it until we need to in a little bit. Once we are here, go ahead and undo this connection, bring the material output upwards, put it on the right side, and whatever I type in here, make sure you type in too, okay? So click on add, go to the search tab and type in bevel. Once you have that, click on it, move it over here like this, perfect. And then go back here again and then type in geometry. Once you have it, same thing. Once you're here, same thing. The next one is going to be vector math. That's the one we want. And the third one is going to be invert. All right, so quickly, what the invert is going to do is, because everything is black right now, it's going to invert the color of the edge so that it turns out white, okay? So we can see the edges. All right, so once you're here, go to the vector here and then click on that, go to add and find the dot product. Once you click on that, that's all you need to do. And now it's just connecting everything, okay? Normal to the first vector, normal to that second vector, value to color, color to surface, and ta-da! That's how easy it was, okay guys? Super easy, right? Absolutely super easy. So let's go and zoom in, click control, and with your middle mouse button, move, well, don't move the wheel, but just move the mouse, okay? It allows you to focus on your target better, and if you want to move from left to right again, just click shift, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. So you're not going all over the place and going, oh my gosh, your eyes are about to explode. Which part will you be using the most? It's the bevel, to be honest, and so especially the radius. So let's move it around so you can see what it does, okay? So what I want to do is, for me, I just kept it at 0.01. To me, that's what it worked for me. For you, it'll be different. Don't always copy what I'm doing. You decide. It's your ship. You've come this far. You deserve it to look like however you want it to look like. So once we are here, all right, that's pretty much all we have to do. So now let's go ahead and do the same thing for the tower, all right? So now that you know exactly what it looks like, you should be able to do exactly the same thing for the tower, okay? So for the tower, again, I have an image texture. You know how to do that already, so go ahead and do that. And here's the best part. You don't have to refine everything. All you guys gotta do is right click, copy, and then just bring it right here. And so what you also need to do is, because we have two of these now, right? So one has to go. So take that one out and there it is. And again, control, move your mouse, shift, move around like that. And there you go, guys. We got exactly what we needed, okay? So now we have to export this onto a texture. So how do we do that? Well, first we got to create an image. And so go ahead and go back to your ship. And let's zoom out just to make sure things are where they need to be. Let's bring this closer to this now so that everything looks pretty good. And then go back here to this icon, click UV editor. Once you are here, let's just make sure that we have the right 3D model that we want to bring that image onto. Click edit, and yep, that looks pretty good. That's the right one. Go back to object mode, but you would know too, because you see the yellow outlines of the ship. it means you've chosen the right thing. Okay, see that difference right here, right? Okay, cool. Once you are here, all we gotta do is make sure that we create a new image, which will pop up here. Now, if you're asking yourself, hey man, how did you go here? Because I don't see this. Super easy, guys. Blender file will take you here, and then view layer is where you see. Okay, so if you ever wonder how to see your materials or how to see your images, go down to Blender file. Okay, and at any moment, if you've created way too many, all you guys gotta do is just right click on it and just delete it. Boom, that's a tip right there, and I just saved you a whole bunch of time. Okay, all right, so once we have this, we have to click new. Once you click new, just name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it Edge Detect Ship 4K because that's what I'm heading to, and tutorial for me. Okay, I don't want to name it like anything that I already named so that I can find it easier. Then once you have that, unclick the alpha because that's probably where yours is at, and then just make it 32-bit float. But if you don't want to do that either, you don't have to do that either, it doesn't matter. I just like to do 32-bit float, that's it. Then once I'm here, I just click OK. Once you click OK, you're gonna see this black box here. You're gonna be saying to yourself, oh my gosh, what happened? Well, let's really quick what happened. So we pretty much increased our image. So we created a new image of our unwrapped ship and we made it 4K. All right, so all you guys got to do is zoom out. And again, I think I skipped it, so I do apologize. There was a section up here that you could do 1K, 2K, or 3K, or 4K, or 8K, or 6K, or whatever. Make sure you find the right number for you. Mine is always 4K, which is 4096 by 4096. So once you're here, great, that's exactly what we want. Now make sure that you click on this icon here, the render properties. Make sure you're on cycle. Either you're at the GPU compute or you're at the CPU compute, it doesn't matter. Then the next thing to do is you have to remember to do this properly here on your render and your viewport. Now 126 I think is good enough, but because I do have a pretty powerful computer, I always like to crank it up to 512. Because as you guys can see, to me this is just blazing through it, but yours might be extremely slow, and so you have to decide how high you want to go for these. To me, 512, that covers it. And usually when I'm rendering a picture, I'll crank it up to about 1,000 on each end, and it's just flying through just like that too. Okay, but once we have that, this is great. And actually I'm gonna go back to object mode and it's gonna start all over again. But it's okay. Once you're on object mode, what you also have to do now is you have to go back down to your shader editor. So go and take your time and watch what I'm doing and click on that. And remember that image texture that I told you guys to get right away. We have to go here, and then now we have to find the new image that we created, which for me should be the very first one, which is the Edge Detect Ship 4K tutorial. Once you click on that, it's going to be telling Blender, hey, I want you to put this image here that I just created, this texture here, this material here that I just created, onto that image here. Okay, that's what I want you to do, Blender. And Blender is gonna say, okay, I got it. And so now go back to the UV editor, and the next step is to go right here. So your tab should be like this. So go to bake, click down, and what we want to do now is take this to emit. Emit is if you're emitting light on textures. All right, so engines or Windows light or anything like that. If you're creating a texture that has an emission, which is a light, it's really cool because then now you're saving memories on your 3D mesh and you're just using your texture to create those lights. All right, this would be totally cool if the whatever software you're using can emit lights out of the texture, which any 3D modeling software should be able to do that. Okay, but we need to be on emit, and yours should be at 16, but I like to throw mine at 32 because my image is already at 32 and I'm already rendering so high too. So once you are here, all you have to do is click bake. When you click bake, you'll see a tab down here that'll say 0% all the way to 100%, which is telling you that it's baking this material onto this image that we just created. And if you did a pretty good job, it should look just like this. Okay, Very simple, very easy. Depending on how powerful your computer is, it might take 5 minutes, it might take 10 minutes, it might take 30 minutes. Okay, usually when I crank it up like this, it usually just takes me like 10 minutes to render through the whole entire thing. Okay, so that takes care of part 2 of this tutorial, and the same process is done with the tower. So if you've done the process with the ship, do the same thing for the tower, and that's how you do it. All right, that takes care of part 2 of this tutorial. All right, in part 3 of this tutorial, it's time to create some ambient occlusion. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So first thing first, duplicate the ship and the tower. You should know how to do this already. We did this 4 times already through all 4 tutorials, okay, and actually many times through those. Once you do that, make sure that you delete everything that we just created on the edge detect so it goes right back to its normal colors. Once we are here, make sure that you are back in the shader editor so you see exactly what I'm seeing right now, okay? Once you're here as well, make sure you click the X button right here so that no images pop down here, because we'll be creating a new image anyways. So make sure everything is just right back from the start. Once we have this right here, the next step is to simply go to add, click the search, and looking for his ambient occlusion is already here. Click on it, move it over here. This time we want to make sure that this will be connected to our principal BSDF. Go back to add, search, but this time type in ramp because we want to color ramp this time. And you're going to put it right here. And what you want to do is you want to connect the color to the FAC and the color to the base color. Once you do this, watch what it does to our 3D model. It turns it kind of that white grayish look. Again, control, move the mouse so you can focus on. And when I move the shader up, as you guys can see, we can see the ambient occlusion, and now that just looks completely ridiculous. And so what I usually like to do is just keep the ambient occlusion about right here. But a lot of people might actually never even touch it because they might think just the way it is good, but I just like to go here. The reason why I do this is because I want it to be dark enough so that I can control it later when I just put the ambient occlusion texture on top of the ship, so I can just control that whenever I want. And so I like to keep it like this. And once you have that like this, we just have to make sure everything looks pretty good. And to me, this looks pretty good, okay? And that's pretty much the ambient occlusion right here. And the next step is to do exactly what we did earlier, create an image for it, and then put this texture on top of the image. So I'm going to show you guys that again so that you see it over and over again so you know how to do it properly, okay? So go back to UV editor, and we already know this is in the right section, okay? But now click the X and click new, and now I'm going to do ambient occlusion ship 4K and tutorial for me, so I know which is which. 4K for me, it's already set. I'm good. Click OK, and same thing, it's right there, it's ready to go. Again, make sure you're on cycle, either GPU or CPU compute. And like I told you guys earlier, just like for edge detect, for ambient occlusion, I like to just keep it at 512, and it looks pretty good for me. Once it's at 512, what you want to do then is go down to here and just go down to ambient occlusion. Once you click on that, don't click bake yet, because what do we have to do? That's right, you remembered, we have to go back to our shader editor, and we have to go down to the image texture and find our new image that we just created, which mine is here. Once again, this tells Blender, I want you to put this image that I just created, or this texture so to speak, onto this image that is the ambient occlusion. I think I just confused all you guys here. I'm sorry. So what we're doing here is every time we create something new here, it's pretty much a material that we're creating, right? And then this material will be translated onto an image that Blender will bake for us. Hopefully that makes sense. I know I totally confused myself too. All right, so once we are here, let's go back to our render section. Same thing, ambient occlusion 32. And once you click bake, again, it might take anywhere from 10 to 20 to 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how powerful your computer is. And it should look just like this. All right. And it's dark in some areas, and some people might say, oh, that's too dark. But here's the thing. If you are using it back into a software, every software that you use any 3D materials onto has the ability to control the intensity of your material. And so that's why I like to keep it dark like this, so that I can control how dark I want my ambient occlusion later. All right. Hopefully this makes sense, guys. And then all you guys have to do, again, it's the same thing for the control tower. And so if we go down to our shader editor for our ship, all we got to do is copy this, throw it here, bring it over here, then just connect the color to the base color, and boom. And then same thing, do the same process, then, you know, create a new image, and then come down here, make sure you click on that image, and then click bake on ambient occlusion, and it's gonna bake for the tower too. Okay. And guys, this takes care of the ambient occlusion for this section here. Alright guys, this next step in part 5 is adding some normals to our ship here. I'm gonna try to fly through this because I don't want to spend too much time on the tutorial, or else people get way too confused, but I'm gonna make it very simple for everybody to understand too. Normals was the biggest creation in video games because now low poly characters could have extremely high detailed materials and textures on the characters, which, you know, gives these illusions that looks like we 3D modeled all these cool little sci-fi dents on the ship, which we didn't. It all came from a normal that, let me see, looks just like this, guys. You know, when you're done with it, your normal looks just like this. Okay. And it just gives the illusion that you 3D model things on you know, your 3D mesh, but no, it's just an illusion. All right, so let's fly through this so it's not 15 minutes long. How do we do this? Click on your 3D model, make sure that you go down to your UV editor. Once you're here, don't touch anything, and go down to texture paint. Once you do that, then it'll allow you to begin to do some bumping and normal. Okay. What we also need to do is click here, and we don't need to be in this mode anymore, so click here. Once you're here and you actually click texture, it turned this purple. Okay. If we go back to object mode, you see that. Now texture, you see this. Once we are here, you might see any of these or you might not. Okay, the only thing you'll probably see is the body ship. Everything else are just materials that I created for the ship itself, like the windows and the engines and stuff like that. And if you don't have those yet, it doesn't matter. Go here, click on add a texture paint slot. Once you have that, go down to bump, and once you are here, just rename that something else. I'm just gonna call it bump ship 4K tutorial, so I know exactly this is just for the tutorial. And I'm gonna keep everything 4K 32-bit float, and click OK. Once you click that, it changed color and it took you to all these wonderful things here. Now yours will probably look like this. Okay, and it's totally fine. Now just to remember, white means that the dent is outwards, and black means the dent is inward, which means the bump itself will be outwards or inwards. Okay, white is up, down is black. All right, from there are two that you need to focus on are just textures, so open it up, and the next one is stroke, because you'll have to decide if you want to use any of these strokes or if you want to use something completely different. And fall off is the one you need to look at too, and as well as symmetry. All right, once you have everything here, I want you guys to go down to this website here, ArtStation, find Jonas Roengard. This is a free alpha pictures that he created for us to use for free. Totally cool dude, man. That's really cool. All right, so once you have that, download it and it should look something like this. All right, once you have this will be a reference for you to look at as we use Blender with it. Minimize everything, back to Blender. So once we have this, let's go ahead and bring this one here into Blender to use. So all you have to do is go down to this one here, and I already brought it in, but I'm gonna bring another one in, so that's fine. Click new. Once you click new, you have to click open and find wherever you put them. Mine is right here, and it's, again, I said I wanted number 14, right? So find number 14. I'm gonna have 3 of those now in this tutorial. Then go back up here and it should pop up here. Ta-da! Once it popped up here, then click here and yours should be the first one. Okay, I'm just gonna click the first one because it's already here. Once it's here, keep going down, and what you want to do is, because it's an alpha, you don't need any fall off. Just make sure there's 0 fall off, and for your symmetry, make sure it matches what you're trying to do. So if I put this up like this and I zoom down, as you guys can see, anything that I put on the X shows up on the other side, the Y on the other side, and the Z, it's on the bottom side. Okay, so for me right now it's X, so I'm gonna click on X so that it's kind of like a mirror. And so when I put this here, is gonna pop up here. If I put it here, it pop up here. Okay, then the next thing you also need to make sure that your add is the stroke method. Now we don't want a line, we actually want an anchored. And so I'm not going to go through each of these because it's just going to take up time of the tutorial. You go and figure it out and just play with these so you can see it for yourselves. The one we want to use is anchored. So when you are here now, you guys can just go and zoom really quick into it. Go here and then move it back. Left mouse button, move your mouse backwards, and then you have this. Now if you move your mouse around, you're able to just set it into place however you want to, and mine is gonna look imperfect, but it's just a tutorial, so I don't really care. Once you click away, it looks like this. All right, the one thing that you can do is move it around, and in Substance Painter and Quixel, I know you can move it around, but in Blender you can't. If you can, leave comments down below. Maybe in version 2.83 you can do, but I don't know. But once you have it here, to see if you've done a pretty good job, then you have to go back here and you have to find exactly the new image that we created, which was the bump ship 4K tutorial, right? So if you click on that, it looks pretty good because it's right here now in our image. Okay, and now if we want to see what it looks like in real life, I mean in real form, I guess, click here, and once you click here, you'll see it. Boom, just like that. Pretty cool, right? And that's pretty much how you add, very cool normals to your ship or to any things that you do in Blender, I guess. All right, once you have it here like this, I'm going to zoom back in again. And what I want to do now is I'm going to go back here in this mode, and let's say I don't want to use this anymore. Okay, that's fine. Click the X, exit out, and then go down to your stroke method, and then you can use any of these that you want, but let's just go and use a line. And for the line, you actually want some fall off, so then I click on that, and I'm going to keep this exactly how it is, and I don't want any dents inward, and I want some outward, so I'm going to go on white, and I'm going to zoom in really quick. And you know what, I'm actually going to zoom out, keep it like this, and now I'm going to draw using my line down here like this, and of course it's going to pop up like that. Hopefully it's not perfect, I don't really mind. It's a tutorial, I just want to show you guys, and we're going to throw some lines here like this, and then now I want to see what it looks like. And there it is, guys. Again, we've created some very cool illusion that we actually re-3D model the model, but we didn't. We just used a normal, and it popped up here too. All right, very cool, very easy. Now you guys go to town, get crazy. This is the part that's going to take you at least 30 minutes to an hour to do. All right, okay, let's say now you're done with all that stuff, you want to export things out. How do you do that? You want to grab the image, you want to do what we did before for the other two sides here. How do we do that? It's super simple, guys. All right, so once you create your bump, it's gonna pop up here, and I forgot to tell you guys this too, so my apologies. In order to grab this image and save it under your computer, you have to go image and then save as, and then you can put it under your computer. For the bump, you need an EXR file, so make sure you click here, go down to open EXR, and make sure it's RGBA, so it's black and white, and it's flowed at its highest color possible, and then click save image. This is a big file, but some software require you to have that file instead of a normal which is the best file to have actually instead of a normal. Your normal is a smaller file, but you know, it's not a perfect file. The EXR file is a perfect bump file. Okay, so how it looks is exactly how it looks. Okay, once you do that, then you know, click save and you're good to go. So you have that file now, it's in there, it's good. And it's gonna also pop up right here. And so when we created this bump, this showed up as well with an image here. And so this image here is this one right here. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. And I know I'm moving pretty fast through this. I mean, this could be a whole entire tutorial by itself, just a bump in the normal. Okay, that's why I'm just flying through this, just showing you guys how to do it so you're not wasting your time with me yapping. Okay, now let's turn this into a normal. How do we do that? Super easy. Click the X here, because now we have to create a new file. So make sure you go back to object mode, click on your ship, click new, and now type in normal ship 4K, you know, tutorial for me, and then 32-bit, same thing, click OK. Once it's here, it's the same concept like that we've done with the other 2-3 ships. Okay, go to shader editor and go to this image right here, and then find where your normal is. Down here somewhere, mine is right here. There it is right there. Go back to UV editor, there it is. Now go to this mode here. Do we need to be in this mode? Sure, you can be in this mode if you want, but you don't really have to, especially if you're just, you know, doing the normal. But what you need to do is make sure that you go down to your render and your viewport, take that down to 1, because we don't need to be at 512 or whatever number you put yours at. And then go down here and find normal. Once you find normal, keep everything as is. Mine was 32, yours is at 16, whatever you want is fine. And then click bake. Once you click bake, this should be a very quick bake, okay, because it's just that one right here. So it should be like, and by the time you know, you're already done. And remember guys, it's supposed to look just like this, all right, something like this. And if it looks like this, then you know you've done a pretty good job. Okay, and you can use it back into Blender, you can use it in Element 3D, you can use it in any of the 3D modeling software or visual effects software that allow 3D models in. The normal map is the smallest map that you can use for that, but you know, the best map is the EXR map, and some software requires that. And if you're doing visual effects, that's the best map to use rather than the normal map. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. All right, and this is how you create all these cool things here. All right guys, this takes care of this section here. All right guys, in part 6 of this tutorial here, we are going to begin to create some coloration on the texture, have some scratch on it, and also have our edge detection on the ship to give it this look here. Well, that's the look I wanted, but guys, your ship, your design, you do whatever you want. Okay, I'm just gonna show you guys how to do it, and that should be pretty easy. But now you're looking at this, you're like, yeah, whatever, man. That does not look easy. And you're 100% correct. This is why the way I'm going to show it to you is going to be very easy to do together. Okay, so I'm going to power through this. So pay attention as best as you can, and let's go through this right now. Again, duplicate a 4th ship, and what you're going to have is nothing in your ship, but what I'm going to have is this right here. And so I'm going to go ahead and move this here because I only need to see these two here. I'm gonna move in here, and again guys, we are on the shader editor. Okay, and once you are here, you already have these here. Okay, so you don't care about that. What you do care about is this right here, all these little nodes. Okay, this is what you need. So pause the video and go ahead to your add, into your search tab, and find all of these nodes. Now the only two that I'm going to tell you what they are is the mix here. Again, we did this earlier, so it's just mix, but it's just the RGB. Okay, and then for this one here, it's the math, but it's the first one. All right, and then you just go into the add and you click multiply. All right, and that's pretty much it. And then all these right here, just position them how I position them to look like this right now. Okay, so pause, figure it out, and position them all. Okay, I assume that you guys have gone forward and positioned them. Now what we need to do is we need to put two textures in each of these image right here. So the first one is going to be a scratch image that I found on Google that was free. You guys can use it. I left the link for you guys to use it, or you guys can go online and find your own, but it's got to be a metal, scratch metal. Okay, so I know for a fact mine is in the new ship texture body, and it's this one right here. And then here we need to use the edge detect that we created with the very first ship. So open, same thing, mine is in the body here and it's down here. Once you have that, that's wonderful. I assume you guys use this, you change the numbers and you change this and you make sure everything looks exactly how mine looks. And so now it's just time to connect. And so when we connect, just connect it like this: color to FAC, colors to FAC, colors to FAC, and colors to FAC here, and color to color here, and color to metallic right there, and color to color here, color to roughness here, and color down to base color. Okay, and one last one, color here to the FAC right there. And guys, that takes care of that. Now if you would have changed the colors just like I did, as best as you possibly could as well, you should have this looking just like this right now. Okay, and it might be a little bit off, but still you should have exactly what mine looks like right now. All right, and this is the reason why I wanted to show it to you the fastest way possible, by just copying exactly what I just did right there, so I wouldn't have to like go one by one and bore you to death. All right, one thing you need to know, however, is now let's go through each of these and just kind of see what they do. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom here really quick. Let's look at the top one for the ramp. What does the ramp do? So if I move this back and forth, as you guys can see, you get more scratch, right? And so now you get to decide exactly how much scratch you want on your ship. Isn't that cool? All procedural, guys, very cool. But what if you're like, man, I want the scratch to be in different spots? All right, that's fine. Go down to your mapping and just move your scratch around. Okay, you decide where it goes. It's your ship. All right, cool, that looks great. All right, what about down here? So down here is for the edge, right? So what happens if we move that up and down? I wonder. As you guys can see, our edge do show up a little bit more. They're more visible, right? But what makes them even more visible is, oops, I'm gonna move here. It's this value right here. Okay, so if you move down, we don't see them. If you move up, we see them. And so this value here plays a lot with this value here too. And so if you lower this and you move these values around, you're gonna get a different look. That's why it's important for you to just play around with the values that you like, and then you get to decide what you want. Okay, so again, this is the tutorial, so I don't really care what it looks like right now. I already have my ship completed. So that is for this right here. All right, and then let's say you want a different color for the ship. That's fine, you can have a totally different color. So if we click right here, this is what's going to change your color. Okay, and then this also will change the colors. And so let's just change the color of the ship first. Click here and then just move this color wherever you want. And as you guys can see, our ship totally changed color, right? And so you click here, and if you want to be lighter, it can be lighter. If you want to be darker, it can be darker. All procedural. All right, so this gives you full control of what you want to do before you bake the whole entire image. And this is super powerful. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to what we had earlier, because that's the color we're going for, and I'm actually gonna lower this back down to this color here, just like this. Now what about the scratch? You can do the same thing for the scratch. All right, you can change the color as you see fit. All right, pretty cool, right? Super easy. I mean, that's super easy. And it's the same thing for the edges. You can totally change the edges colors too, and all you have to do is play with this color right here, and it'll totally change the edges colors. Okay, so take your time, play around with this whole entire procedural system, get the look that you exactly want for your ship. All right, this is very important. Now this is the whole entire body, but we have to make sure that we are changing other colors too for that. Okay, so how do we do that? So this is the part where I'm going to move this back over here, and I'm going to focus on the ship now, and I'm going to go back down to this right here. So what we need to do is you need to go down to edit mode, and in your edit mode, this is when you'll be able to choose which color goes where. All right, as you click, you'll be able to choose your color, but before you can do that, you have to go back to object mode, and then you have to click here on this plus sign, and you have to click create. Right now we're creating a new material, and so we're going to click new, and we're going to just call that yellow, for example, right? And the first one we're going to call that gray. All right, so we have gray, we have yellow. Now we know that each of these colors go to a specific color, and as I've shown you guys with the previous tutorials, remember that each of these you need to assign a specific color so you know exactly what is what. And so for the yellow, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to just assign this color right here, base color, subsurface color, and the view plane distort color. Okay, oops. Once I have that, then I'm going to go back into my edit mode, and then I will choose what I want the faces to be colored like. So I know for a fact this is yellow, and so I'm just going to do one side, guys, and then you guys just look at, you guys decide what you want yours to look like. Okay, then go to yellow and click assign. Once you click assign, there it is right there. All right, and now we're gonna go back and put that colored yellow plus the scratches and the edges on this color right here. So go back to object mode, and once you're right here, do it halfway, focus, go back here. Once you're here, go to the first one that is gray, and all you guys have to do is copy this right here, throw it down to the yellow, and just connect everything as I connected it. Even the bump, assuming you guys put some bump here, you're gonna have to connect the bump too onto the yellow. So you know what, I'm just gonna bring it, even though I connected absolutely nothing on it. And so, and when you connect everything, the bump should go into the normal, and this should go into the roughness, and this should go into the metal, and this should go into the base color. And so now you're like, hey, that disappeared. Of course it did, because we need to change this color right here. So click on the subsurface color or the view distort display, click on that, go to hex, click on this number here, Control C, copy that, go back here, click on this, and on the hex, click on that, Control V to throw it here, and then watch what happens. That's it. Now, we might not be able to see the scratches, right? And so again, it's all a matter of just you playing with the color. And so I want this to be darker, so I'm gonna go a little bit darker like this, and now the scratch are here. And so, but here's the thing, if you don't want the scratch to follow it properly, because it might be too perfect here, there it is, just go and switch it around, okay? Because now the scratch look completely they don't look aligned anymore, and it gives you, like, I guess, more immersiveness of the ship, or how you want the ship to look like. Okay, and guys, that's pretty much how you do this part. So rewind the video and again watch how I did it, so that you guys can do it exactly as is without spending too much time understanding what each of these nodes do. Once you have this format in, then you go play one by one to see what the nodes do. And this is the best way for me to teach you how to do this, so that your brain is not exploding. Okay, once again, this is a procedural system how to do this properly. Okay, and so here's the next step. Once you have this, you just do the same thing you've done to get the texture out. So we go back to UV editor, and here's your ship, and you gotta create new, but now we're gonna call that Diffuse Ship 4K, and for me it's tutorial, right? And I'm gonna click OK. Once you are here, you have to go back down to shader. And here, what we have to do is we have to make sure that on our image texture, we find our diffuse. And for any of the materials that you created, you have to make sure that you put a copy in each of those materials. I assume that you didn't have this. I had this, but you don't have this. But now you have a yellow. And so in your yellow, you have to make sure that you copy and paste this Diffuse-Shape 4K that you took from the gray into the yellow, because now it's going to tell Blender that there are two specific colors that you want it to put on a new image. All right, but if you added these as well, then as you guys can see, you have to add a new image texture, and you have to make sure that you find the new image that you created and you put it in here. All right, then once you have everything ready, you go into this mode here, oops, this one here, into our big tab, and now you go into diffuse. And for diffuse, you can just go 1 as well. It's going to be a very quick baking. Okay, it's going to go, and then you're done baking. And once you're done baking, it should look just something like this. Let me go back to this. It should look just something like this. Okay, very easy, very simple, right? Nothing too crazy. All right, guys, and this takes care of this section right here. Okay, guys, in this next session, I assume that you guys took care of this. And I also assume, because I showed you guys how to color code your materials, your ship should have specific colors in its material itself. So you know exactly which part you're going to be changing and which part is going to look exactly how you want it to look, right? My assumption that as you follow through everything, it looks you're at this spot right now. Okay, you've exported your texture and now you're going to import it back into the ship. All right, fifth ship that we duplicated and also made sure that no matter what we do to it, it doesn't affect the other ships. And your ship should look something like this. Okay, very similar to this. Now for this ship, so when we click on the ship here and we go into our shader editor, I want you guys now to find these 3 nodes. Noise texture, click here, noise, whoops, there it is. You already know how to do color ramp, and this one you already know how to do to it. Mix, and it's the mix RGB. Okay, once you have them like that, make sure the numbers look the same as mine. Make sure the color looks the same as best as you possibly can. So I'm going to do it for this color, that is the gray. And then once you have that, all you guys have to do is copy and then go down to your red color and just paste. And when you paste it, make sure it's this color right here, and do the same thing for your yellow color and make sure as best as possibly can it's this color right here. Okay, right here. So again, for up here, I'm gonna click on the black so there's no confusion here really quick. Hold on, there it is. So make sure it's this color right here, and right here. There's a slight difference between them so that when it shows up on our materials here, it looks really good. Okay, so make sure that you do that. And once you have that done, then it's going connect. Okay, I assume now that you have done exactly what I asked you to do. So now let's put a material, a texture on our ship. And I assume that you guys have already exported your texture, right? And so let's go and do that right now for the body, for the gray area. So we're gonna go ahead and just open this section here, And I know mine is right here on the body, and it was the diffuse, so I'm gonna use the diffuse. And I'm gonna go down here and do the same thing. Usually you would copy and paste everything, but because we're doing it this way, we kind of have to do one by one, okay? Oops. Okay, once it's all there, now it's time to connect, all right? So this is how we're gonna connect this. Connect that to the color, connect this to the color, and that's it for this part. And then do the same thing for the bottom part. And as you guys can see here, things are changing. There you go. And so we went from all of these in order to create this right here. So if I rotate my ship around, we can see that we have added a few things here, and I think I forgot the yellow. Let's see. Oh yeah, I put it in the wrong section. There it is. Much better. And what this did here, it kind of gave some, I guess, paint discoloration to each color that would specify, you know, discolorations, I guess. And each of these colors were just slightly tweaked so that it would show up on that specific color. All right, but this is just to show you guys what you can do. Again, it's all procedural until you decide to bake everything, okay? And so now that you have this like this, now you decide where you want things. You decide where it goes, what you want. And here's an example. Let's go on the gray area, and the ramp here can exactly, so if I move on the ramp, you see exactly what it does, right? You get to decide exactly where it goes. And it's the same thing for the scale, the detail, and the distortion. It completely moves where you want things to be. But if you want to be even more detailed, then you can go back to this one here, and let's go on the gray, and you can use these two section here, and then you just reconnect those two here to either this part here, or I mean, not this first one, but the second one here. And then you can just really have more, you know, ability to tweak how this looks. But as of right now, this is all you need. You don't need any more than that, unless if you want to get really crazy, okay? And so by adding this discoloration, it just kind of makes the ship look cooler, I guess. All right, and that's pretty much it right here. Once you get here, guys, it's the same repeating thing to bake you know, your texture. So the texture should look just something like this. All right, it has the discoloration formation, it's got the scratches, it has the edging, it has the colors that we want, and that's it, guys. This is pretty much how you create this whole entire texturing of this ship here. And oh my gosh, I'm really kicking myself in the butt right now. I should have told you guys about these two. Again, I'm so sorry, guys. I just didn't want this tutorial to be long, so I just powered through everything. And the biggest thing I forgot to tell you guys, unclick these two things here, okay? Okay, guys. Hopefully you understand this, and once you have that, then the final step is to just bring everything together. And once you bring everything together, it looks just like this. Okay, so if we go back into our shader editor, that's it. All you have is it. That's it. You have the image and you have your bump. Hopefully this last part was not too confusing. I tried to keep it short, but it was impossible because there was so much to do that I just couldn't keep it short. Hopefully you guys find this super helpful. And if you guys dig, guys, like this video, the last 3 videos, sub to the channel, have all your friends come and check out this 4-part series, and just tell them straight up, wow, this totally helped me out, and you should check it out too. Okay, thank you so much, guys. If you dig, like, sub to the channel. Let's grow the channel, and let's all have a good time being in 100% control of all visual effects and 3D modeling now. Thank you so much, guys. I love you all, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye now.